Greetings, everyone. I want to thank Mr. Perry and the Department of Student Activities for the opportunity to speak with you all today as you prepare for this intake season. My name is Deborah Howard. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as your Title IX coordinator here on campus. I was unable to be present with you today, however, I am grateful to have a few moments to speak with you about the intersection of hazing, Greek life, and Title IX, and how they impact our university community. For those of you who don't know, Title IX covers 10 areas that affect students in both K through 12 and higher education. Title IX legislation arose due to the need to ensure gender equity in athletics, that women were given an equal opportunity to play and coach in collegiate athletic programs. It evolved to address the specific concerns of pregnant and parenting students re entering the educational and academic world, and gender equity in the areas of higher education, such as STEM, careers, and employment after college. It continued to evolve to the areas that I now address on this campus far more than I would like. They are the areas of sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, and sexual assault. I will talk a little later about this space because this is where hazing and Title IX intersect. So let's get into it. Why do people choose to become part of a Greek or Greek affiliated organization or association? As you can see, the reasons are far ranging and they are decidedly personal to each individual contemplating the move to Greek life. Most join for the opportunity to be of service to others. Some feel that being part of Greek life provides them with a sense of belonging to a group of like minded people. Certainly, participation in Greek life provides the opportunity to establish lifelong relationships. But let's be honest, there will always be those who join organizations for the social status they provide or because it looks good on their resume. Greek life is no different. Last but by no means least, there are many people who are stepping into a legacy membership. This decision is of great importance to both the student and their family. For those of you who are not aware, hazing is a crime in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Presently, it is a misdemeanor. The laws were changed several years from when there was both a misdemeanor and a felony component to this offense. The felony would be charged if the victim received injuries that required medical attention, or in the most tragic cases, if there was a death. As you can see from this slide, hazing addresses the initiation, admission into, or affiliation with, or as a condition for continued membership in any club, organization, association, fraternity, sorority, or student body, regardless of whether the endangered student voluntarily submitted to being hazed. Again, there are some reasons here defined as hazing, or some actions, I should say, defined as hazing. Calisthenics, or strenuous physical activity, exposure to inclement weather, consumption of food, liquor, or beverage, drug, or other substances, confinement to any room or compartment. And that compartment could be a box, or a closet, or a car trunk, just to name a few. And of course, spraying, pelting, or painting a substance on a person, burning a person in any substance, whether that be solid or liquid, and of course, burning, branding, or tattooing a person. This slide illustrates the beginning of where Title IX and hazing intersect. As it pertains to hazing, there are occasionally instances where both sexual harassment and sexual assault occur. Title IX becomes involved if the hazing has some sexual component to the behavior. The other offenses listed here are those we also address on this campus. And FYI, the most prevalent instance of sexual misconduct that occur on most college university campuses, including our own, are dating violence and stalking. That being said, it is entirely possible for one single incident of inappropriate initiation to involve both sexual assault and hazing. The sexual aspect of hazing centers on a desire or a need to exert domination and control over another individual, namely the initiated student. Research has shown colleges and universities have reported two categories of hazing and sexual abuse. As you can see, the first involves situations where frat or sorority initiates or candidates for other organizations are sexually abused by some senior organizational members. The second incidence are situations where a person has to engage in some sort of sexual activity as part of their initiation. This slide discusses a female victim. The reality is, this behavior has been documented to have occurred with male, female, and non binary students. Listed here are a few examples of sexual harassment during a hazing incident. They include, but are not limited to, making demeaning or explicit comments, obtaining or spreading nude explicit photos of an individual, and this is also known as sexual exploitation, which is also a crime. Exposing one's genitalia or coercing others to do likewise, stalking, and of course, the more severe cases of sexual assault to include penetration, otherwise known as rape. Researchers have determined that sororities can be as sexually cruel as fraternities. And by sexually cruel, I mean that the object of the particular behavior in their case is to exact the emotional and social humiliation of an initiate, where males are allegedly more predisposed to make the initiates prove their strength or their sexual prowess. Here are some documented examples of incidents across colleges and university campuses. Some, but not all, have occurred on this campus. Again, while these incidents are listed in terms of male or female, I remind you that these incidents have been visited upon male and female and non binary students alike. As you see, the rape by Sharpie is fairly self explanatory. Person is stripped down to their underwear. They write on the person's behind, perhaps may smack them a few times, and then they are sexually assaulted with a pin, with the Sharpie is being penetrated into that person's body. The boob ranking, where sisters are forced or pledges to strip off their shirts and bras in a cold room, line them up in order of breast size. And for those of you who know where we are in this world as it pertains to body shaming, this can be more destructive to the psyche than the physical harm that's done through striking an individual. Here are some others: indecent exposure and masturbation, which is fairly self explanatory. The elephant walk has several different variations, as you can see. The candidates are normally naked when these things occur. The first is when the males stand in a straight line, putting one thumb in their mouth, one thumb in the anus of the person in front of them. Second, being a group of males walking in a straight line, holding onto the erect penis of the male behind them. And then the third, a group of males walking straight in a straight line rather, holding on to the erect penises of the males behind them while putting one thumb in the anus of the males in front of them. And then the two choices rule, which has been documented happening with females more than others, where a female candidate has been either given a choice to either use a dildo in front of her sisters or take a hit of cocaine or some other narcotic under threat of physical violence or assault. Here are some examples of PSAs and other anti hazing material created and distributed by various Greek organizations. All of the orgs on the national level have language in their respective constitutions and bylaws that address their organization's stance on hazing. Yet, with all of this information floating around, and indeed with all these anti hazing forums that we hold before each intake on this campus, there is at least one complaint every intake year of hazing on the VSU campus. As you can see, these are copies of articles written about hazing within Black Greek life organizations. The graphic on the bottom left tells the story, which is that 95% of students hazed do not report it. And there are many reasons for this statistic. Students are afraid of retribution. They may be afraid of being ostracized by the very group in which they're trying to seek membership. They may feel that being a paper pledge is not a real initiation and that they have to tough it out in order to be considered legitimate. So the question becomes, if you witness an incident of hazing, what should you do? You can be a part of the active bystander movement that is also known as being an upstander. Chief Bragg often implores us, if you see something, say something. The first way to be an active bystander is to take the direct approach. If it's safe, confront the harasser directly. Say something like, hey, leave them alone. Or I see what you're doing and they obviously don't like it. You need to stop. The second approach is to cause a distraction of some kind by approaching the person being harassed. You can ask them a question like, do you know when the next electric bus is coming? Or, are you in my stat class? I missed today and I need to get the homework. Can I get with you for a minute? Anything to break up the harassment. By doing this, you're letting the harasser know their actions are being observed. And of greater importance, you're letting the harassed person know that they are seen as well and that they are not alone. The third approach is to delegate. If you don't feel safe directly approaching the harasser and you're not sure how the harassed person will react, you can ask someone to get help, an RA, an advisor, or the police while you continue to monitor the situation at a safe distance. In all cases, whether you are the one being harassed or you've observed the harassment, there are places you can go on campus to share your information. The groups on the left are confidential resources. They will not share what you've told them without your permission unless they believe you are a danger to yourself or to others. The Counseling Center, the Sexual Assault Prevention Center, and the Student Health Center are all located in Memorial Hall. University Campus Ministries is located on the third floor of Foster Hall. James House and Off Campus Counseling Center has an office in Prince George, but they make appointments for people in Petersburg. The groups on the right are called mandated reporters or responsible employees. If you share your info with the first three groups listed, they are compelled to report this information to the police and to the Title IX coordinator, which is me. If you report this directly to either the police department or the Title IX office, we are compelled to start an inquiry into your information and, if necessary, begin an investigation. In my last few minutes, I'd like to remind you that all sorts of reasons have been put forth to justify the hazing process. You may hear or have heard this several times today already, but it bears repeating. The fact that hazing is considered a tradition is unfortunate. The fact that it may be considered a time honored tradition is untrue. For a thing to be time honored, it means it's accepted and therefore acceptable, which hazing is not. The fact that most hazing involves power and control disqualifies it as a team building activity. It does not demonstrate leadership. Hazing is indeed harmful mentally and emotionally to the person being hazed. It centers itself on an imbalance of power. In essence, hazing is not okay. So, what's the end goal for the next few months? First, we hope it's going to be an uneventful intake, which means having no one injured or having no incidents that bring discredit to the various organizations or to the university. Second, we're hoping for a successful probate. The entire campus looks forward to being introduced to the newest members of VSU Greek life every year. And third, the ultimate goal we're hoping is that there is an ability to establish a foundation for what in many cases out to be a productive social and professional association for you for years to come. Here's how we can be reached. My office info is here along with our various social media handles. Please feel free to follow us. I will end by saying our office will be sending out a notice shortly for anyone interested in applying for membership to the Student Title IX Association, or STICSA as we are known. The students of STICSA are essentially Title IX ambassadors for the university and act as a liaison between the students, the Title IX office, and the VSU administration. Best wishes as you move to the next phase of your intake process. I look forward to seeing you in the yard showing your colors. Again, thank you for your time and have a great day on purpose.